Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so feeling pretty good, man. Feeling really good. I woke up this morning feeling positive. Obviously this is uh, a tough time. Dealing with everything that's going on in my world, with my living situation, looking looking pretty bleak in regards to certain bills having not been paid because I'm sitting here trying to be an AMC ape, as I told you guys 106 time. What am I stepping on? Looks like a water bottle. I forgot what's down there. Anyway, um, but yeah, no, it's a very good boost I just had. Just in terms of you know, looking at something on social media, checking my phone, and realizing that Drake had liked one of my comments that I had put on Facebook. Now, I don't know if he's going around just liking every comment on the section or what have you. I didn't check to see if he liked anybody else's, except for one person underneath me. Yeah, he did love their comment as well. But it's one that I put on the Facebook right after he dropped "Always Never Mind." And essentially, what I was saying is, I don't think that he wanted necessarily to put out a rap album after CLB. He wanted to bounce back for sure, but I didn't think he wanted to rush his pen. And so that was the comment that he loved. So, shout out to Drake, man. That was a big boost. Obviously for somebody like myself who's just a guy, commenting on some stuff. It's really dope to see artists respond, especially when guys who are that huge. That's major. So I don't know if it was actually him or his representatives, but either way, definitely made me feel pretty good. So I figured I'd put that in there to start the video. Uh, as far as everything else, man, I'm feeling good. Like I said, I just took a shower and all that good stuff. Said a prayer as I always do, and decided I wanted to make some content in this channel that I've yet to make. I'm gonna do next, but I figured I'd make the therapy session and just record that particular bit of information. Um, just to let it be there. Like, yo, Drake liked one of my comments one time. Like, in history, it happened. So that's pretty cool, man. What else do I want to say? It was a lot of stuff going on out there that I think kind of was relevant to some of the conversations that we've had on this channel in regards to therapy sessions. I just ain't really got around to it, just simply because I got other things on my mind. So it's like dealing with all the other things that would otherwise matter just doesn't to me right now. Uh, but at the same time, these things should still hold some merit. And so as they come to me, I'll bring them to you going forward. But I just want to let everybody know that some of the normal conversations just have to take a back seat when you have real life, and that's really what I was telling you guys leading up to things happening like they have. It's why I was able to have some of those conversations, because I wasn't distracted by a lot of that. It was the importance of capturing those moments as they were. For me, it was like I'm not as distracted as everybody else just because I've created the temporary opportunity to do so. And so while I had it, I wanted to get all of that in. Any bit of nonsense that I saw needed to be addressed in my mind. And I don't regret none of that, man. I think that some of that stuff wouldn't have otherwise been said unless I did it that way. Now, the consequences of that, having to live this way now and all of that, the changes that come with it may not be necessarily easy to deal with. But what I was trying to do and what the Lord allowed me to be able to say and win, oh man, I wouldn't take that back for nothing. I wouldn't take that back to make things better at all. Especially if you go back and look at some of that stuff that we were talking about. It was just very dear to me. And I think some of the things that I was thinking in those moments, if they go back and study some of the different concepts that just came flying out of my mouth, I think people can use some of that stuff and apply it to their everyday life. I know that sounds like an arrogant thing to say, but if you actually listen to some of the stuff I was talking about, I think you'll understand what I'm trying to convey. It's just true. There's some things there. There's literally some things there over the last 250, however many entries it's been, that I think could be not only eye-opening and a case studies in regards to my own mind and people who have whatever condition it is that I ultimately have, but also some of the tidbits that come out of just the way that my brain pairs things together. And the motivational aspects of what it is that I've been trying to overcome, and how I've been given so much wisdom in that regard from my mother and different people that I've picked up from along the way. And I just left a lot of that here and on this channel. So I encourage everybody to go back and check that stuff out if you care to spend a bunch of hours listening to some guy talk. really. And you'll find out that some of that stuff, um, I think if you believe in God, you'll know that He put some stuff in there through my mouth. He put some stuff in there, some stuff that I was listening to in those therapy sessions. After saying them, I didn't remember saying stuff like that actually helped me, after listening to them again. So it's very strange how that works, but nevertheless, I hope that it helps you guys too if you decide to check it out. In the meantime, it's just looking at different habits that I have that don't work in my favor. Obviously, now I need to react to what I got going on. And the first order of business is to get some type of psychological evaluation. And I just have not applied. That's always been a problem for me. It's like, all right, I have something I need to do, but it's anxious in nature and having to handle it. So get to it. At what point? It's like my natural inclination is to avoid that, to do other things, to be productive in other areas, to put it off, to look at the clock and seeing as I have some time left, and that kind of crap just doesn't work in situations like this. And so working against those ways and those habits and trying to develop new habits alone is the challenge here in time to get it done. So, for example, this is what my brain is currently doing. The lady at the court told me that the case won't be for another month. She did not say a specific date. She said they would contact me in regards to that date. So in my head, I'm thinking I have a month. Now, if there happens to be 2 weeks, now I've screwed up. You see what I'm saying? Because in my mind, I'm thinking I have a month to handle this. So that's where the childish nature of my own ways works against me. It's the same way I got myself in this problem in the first place. It's not necessarily being thorough with the time and not necessarily taking the in-game time space as seriously as necessary. For example, the in-game time space, what I mean by that is what is going to happen at the end of the situation. Like, for example, at the end of the month, I go to court and I get some ruling either in my favor or against me. Either I have to get out soon, or they'll give me 3 months, or they'll let me stay indefinitely, or whatever it would be. You know what I mean? But the end is this: I'm prepared for that a month from now, not necessarily if it happens a week from now. You see what I'm saying? So what I need to discipline myself in doing today is some of the things that would be necessary if I felt I had only a week left or 2 weeks left, since I love putting stuff off. To psych my mind and to handle the things that will provide an anxiety right now. So that's what it is. It's like these last 2 days I've failed miserably in that way. The first, Monday, it was a holiday. So that gave me the excuse not to, call people and do all the different things that would be necessary, even though probably most of that stuff could have been handled yesterday. Didn't want to do it. Said, oh, it's Tuesday, it's still early, I got a whole month, so let me just continue to work on my art. So I did, God knows, probably about 50 art pieces yesterday, because that's what the vibe was. So I did a whole playlist, made a playlist in the morning. It was really good, real good, and then listened to it and just proceeded to make me, the art. And I'm like, that's productive. Someday this art could be sold for such and such price. So I'm really working here, even though I'm not helping myself by doing it necessarily. Although I am, it's very confusing. It's very confusing, to be honest with you. Because, like, deep down, I know that's what's good for me. Deep down, I also know that probably make me the most money. And so it's like, I know I am helping myself, but for my immediate situation, based on the worldly circumstances in front of me, I need to be doing something else. In the American world I'm in, I need to be probably working at Taco Bell right now. And I always refer to Taco Bell because they just opened a new one down the street and they're hiring. I don't want to work there. Of course I don't want to work there. But nevertheless, it's one of those situations where it's like, that would be the most responsible thing for me to do. And it's like the childishness in me, the person who doesn't fear the consequences of actually having this happen for whatever reason. Don't fear it like I should. Not the way someone who'd been through it would fear it. They'd probably already be at Taco Bell. They would have been happy to be at Taco Bell. They would have been sitting there, with taking the most hours possible. But it's just, the childishness of me, what I'm used to, what got me in this position in the first damn place, is what currently sits on my brain like this bad hairline and that cut. So it's like when you need to change and your brain ain't doing nothing but telling you to do all the stuff that makes you feel comfortable. and you know it don't work in your favor, and you're trying to force yourself, that's where I'm at. It's exactly the moment I'm in. Still got the childishness comforting my mind, telling me I don't have to do something because a month from now it's going to be straight. When a month from now, if I don't have things absolutely in order, it could be hell for me. A lot more hell than what I'm dealing with right now if I were to face what it is I'm facing. That's where we're at. That's exactly what it is. And it's like, okay, even now I'm on the camera talking to y'all instead of applying. So what do? Do I be mad at myself for not doing that? Do I look at this as something that's building my brand anyway? Because I'm obviously making content no different than the art. Is this all a waste of time? I don't know. Because even if I get a job, they'll probably still kick me out of here. Because I don't have any credit. I won't probably be able to find anywhere else. So it's like, these are different things. It's like, even if I do get that job, I may just be able to get enough money to hold me over into my next situation, which is definitely what's needed. So it's like, to be completely honest with you guys, I'm just trying to work through a childishness and a comfort level that it's been long here. You know, it's one of the things that you don't want your child to have when you have a silver spoon and then you lose everything. Not to say I've ever had a silver spoon, but it's the nature of things being okay when they don't do nothing. You don't want that. Being comforted when things are now on you to fix. It's like, no, it's not time for you to be coddled. It's time for you to get up and be in action. And so a lot of times when it was like that for me as a child, I was coddled. I was given things that would otherwise supplement my feelings instead of telling me to go get it done. And, you know, that was because of how sensitive I was. It was because of the trauma I'd already faced and how I would react to being told to get it done. So it's like, never worked in my favor. I never worked in my favor as well. It was a vicious cycle that made me not respect myself and then further drove me into all different types of nonsense that didn't make me any better. It didn't prepare me anymore for what I have in front of me right now. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm like, as much as I'm as a person who believes he's a good person, as a person who believes he's a smart person, I just know I got a long way to go before I'm a good man. You know what I mean? Honestly, like, it's not even about being good of heart, but it's about being good for something. What are you good for? what are you providing the world? And so for me, it's like, if not for the creativity and the confusion that allows me to stay in those spaces to create, nothing, to be honest with you. But it's that creativity and it's the faith that's within the things that I create and within the content that I apply that I think gives me value that otherwise I can't seem to apply to help myself in everyday stuff. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it can drive you into a space of, you know, further depression, if you like to call it that, or more self-loathing if you want. Or you can start to realize that all the good aspects of yourself have also been built and that you can build something going forward that will be in a different area that needs to be built that will help you in this way. So it's like, okay, well, how do I apply the first step to fixing this instead of turning back around and saying I'm unhappy because I'm like this and then just walking away? You know what I mean? How do I walk through that door that allows me to face those anxieties, take on that pain, and build the strength from the new scars or whatever it's going to be, you know, so that I can at least be the right display for the people who are not only rooting for me, but who are watching me and saying, okay, if he does it the right way, I'm going to follow him. If he finds a way through his strength or through his weaknesses to find strength, I'm going to as well. And the people who will watch me not try and then say, yep, that's the way I want to go to. He couldn't do it, I can't either. That kind of thing. I just don't want to be that type of example at all. So for me, I have a new desire to face the music, but it doesn't necessarily make me want to apply for that Taco Bell job. It ain't quite that mature. And so that's where I need to find breakthroughs. And so you know, being alone doesn't help with that, I don't think. But at the same time, it's one of those situations where there have been people who pull themselves out of struggles by themselves. So I don't give myself necessarily the excuse because I've been used to being protected or coddled or whatever as a child, to where I'm in a space right now where I need to be doing the protecting of others and doing the you know, doing what needs to be done in that regard. There's no excuse. And with the ego that I have, it won't be one. It won't be an excuse. So that's really what I'm at with myself, you know. It's looking at the situation and understanding I created it in prayer. You know, all of this was done while prayerful, while being careful to not offend the Lord, or so to speak, is the best I know it. And so, you know, I don't think that this is a curse that I put myself in. I don't think, as I look at it further, that I've wasted time. As I said, the art's made, the content's here, as I said. So it's just about the way that I'm comfortable, the way I'm wired, just not being the right algorithm for the world I'm in. That's really what I've surmised. The way that I like to move, the way that I like to do things, you can't eat here that way. Maybe if this were the year 3227, BDF 44 would be right on time for everything he's trying to do. But in 2023, I'm just an immature, childish man who can't get out of the way of his own anxieties to do things that men do. And that's what it is. And I'm just smart enough to know that I'm just in the wrong time, or wasn't meant to be competent, I guess you can say, as it pertains to the rhythm of things in 2023. Just not wired to be, you know. But it's funny, because as I grow more open-minded and I grow more understanding of what it is that I'm capable of and what it is that I do, and then look around and see what it is that's going on in 2023, and seeing how people agree to certain things and just coerce them into bad energy and stuff like that, I just realized that when you say those things about yourself, you need to remove, and I say this to myself, you need to remove the shame from it. It's like a piece not on the right puzzle board. That's all it is. Nothing wrong with the piece. It's just that the board you're on, you know, that's not the game. I'm a football on a basketball court. That's what it is. A very good football too. One with great aerodynamics and all of that. But I'm just not on the right court. And so as I come to understand, it took me 38 years to understand that. I would say things like to myself, like, you're incompetent, and that's it. You know, it's like, no, the world is messed up. You're fine. As it pertains to you're being productive, you're thinking the right way, you put out love, you feed yourself the right things, you ignore bad culture as it pertains to things that people are doing to kill themselves every day. You don't have nothing to do with that. You see clearly as it pertains to the evils in place that otherwise want to coerce your mind one way or another. You see clearly as it pertains to the evil in your own heart and needing to overcome that, and the weakness within yourself and needing to overcome that, and even your own mental health energies as it pertains to overcoming that. So I have self-awareness. So it's like, I'm a fine piece. It's not on the right board. For the world we're in and all these different things that they call normal, I'm off the spectrum because I'm a free thinker, open-minded individual with flaws and with trauma issues that have also put him in a position to be damaged, right? So it's those two things going on at the same time, and I've learned to be okay with that. You know, that's why I'm the wrong piece. That's why I'm not built for the world. It's because of the trauma. You know what I mean? So it's like, you get help for that. You learn what you need to learn, and then you apply your natural rhythms to the new understanding. So that's what the brain will do. You know, there's nothing wrong with the brain itself. It just needs to be conditioned differently. And to be honest with you, the conditioning I was in was not my choice. People were reacting to me being too much for them in a lot of cases, and handled me the best way they could. That's what I think in regards to my mom. It was just too much for her. You know, I was a lot. And she had dealt with her own stuff, you know, so trying to deal with me on top of that, it was just like, just give him something that's going to make him feel better. And so he can sit there and occupy his mind so he don't drive me crazy. And that's what it was a lot of time. Instead of giving him what he needed to be his best self, or putting him in environments that would otherwise be fitting for the piece he was. That wasn't even fathomable. So it is what it is, man. Now I got to find my own way. I got to find where I belong and not look at the piece itself in the mirror and say there's something wrong with it. Because that's been the challenge, is to look at myself and say, yeah, you're fine. Like, nah, I never done that. It was always the world that was fine and me that needed to adjust to it, until I started looking around at the world and realizing that it needed to make its own adjustments, and that a lot of what I'm on would help it. You start to trust yourself a little more then. So that's also where I'm at. You know what I mean? To find the balance between what it is that I understand that works for me and what it is that I think I understand that I've never experienced and for which I have no context. And to walk around all pretentious like I know what's going on because I get some things and then don't get others. Then I run into walls like this, where the world is doing what it does as itself, and me being a piece that don't fit finds himself on the wrong end of the stick. And so being off the spectrum, so to speak, doesn't help. If that's the best way to describe my personality, it don't help. Because what you ultimately need is to know the ways of the world to get through it and to not be crushed by the ambition of all around you. So for me, it was like, let me stay away from all of that because I understand it fully and I don't want to get run over by it or turn into it and start running people over. So let me just stay out the way. And it just doesn't work, especially in America. You're not wired to have your own soul. You're wired to be property of the state, property of the country. So as you move as a cog to make it more wealthy, you please it. You please it. You get the favor of the God that is the American government. But if you don't move in a way that makes it richer, then you're a deterrent to it, and it will ultimately overcome you. You know, by way of your obligations and paying taxes. So that's the way I see it. You must work to eat. You must work to eat. You must work to eat. They will provide you some care. I will give respect to those who provide, you know, certain types of SNAP benefits and stuff like that I can eat from. Okay, I appreciate that. You know, but I don't think that that's necessarily for me. That's not for me. I just need to be able to monetize what it is that I do. I'm not helpless. I'm not helpless at all. I can feed many for what it is that I do. I need to put myself in a position somehow, find myself in a position to be that piece so I can take all that I do and turn it into something lucrative for many. And I can feed all this myself. That's how I look at it. Like, see, that's how I look at myself. It's not now that I'm starting to have confidence in myself. It's like, nah, man, I'm not deficient. I can fix the world. I'm the pill the world needs to feed itself. One of many, obviously, but nevertheless. And so it's like, nah, the Lord made me different. I'm not built for the place that I'm in because I'm supposed to help change it. I'm not a piece that fits in this world because I'm supposed to be the piece that helps change the world into being a better overall adaptable board itself. And so that's why my channel's here. After realizing there's nothing wrong with me and start realizing there's a lot right with me, it's just wrong with certain things that I'm used to and the ways that I move. I figured this is the best way for me to make all of that make sense. Since I can't move in a direction that makes sense within the world, I can't take what it is that I understand, make it so that others can study me, make it so that I can maybe make connections by way of communicating with the open wide world in this way, in the most vulnerable and, dare I say, crazy looking way. It ultimately puts me in a lane that allows me to say whatever I want to say, disarm those who would otherwise say that I don't have credibility in saying those things. I never did. You're disarmed. I never did. And so, and then from there, bring awareness to what it is that I'm doing, which is holding AMC, GME, and bringing light to the corruption in the stock market. You know what I mean? And the corruption that ultimately trickles down to many forms of poverty and neglect all over the world. And then from there, hopefully inspiring people to do their best to not only fight the establishments that may be against them in whatever year they may be living in, but also fight those demons inside themselves and see the parallel between the two. You know, the evil inside of me needs to be fought just like the evil in the world. And if I'm not looking to battle against both and extinguish the evil in both, then I'm not doing right. And so it's one of those, like when you understand that, you know, use the example of basketball and the excellence of the Los Angeles Lakers as a means of approaching our weaknesses with a certain level of dominance and a mentality that we're going to win. And we're going to take the incremental steps to do so, regardless of what it feels like or what the expectations are upon us. Use that parallel to help us improve our lives by way of this channel as well. You know, and just trying to make it work out somehow. So that I'm not wasting 8 and 9 hours in a place like Taco Bell, where, with all due respect, all I'm really doing is feeding myself and others a bunch of stuff that's going to kill them fast. I have no interest in doing that to save my own ass. Honestly don't. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe that's the problem. But it is what it is, man. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.